Thank you. I heard I was going to be talking today to a group of awesome, unstoppable women, and I see that that's the actual case. So I'm just so excited to be here and to talk with you. And this is a time for fun and relaxation. And so that's very, very important today. I know you have all things to go back to, probably reports, people, nice people, cranky people, situations. And what I want you to do right now, and for the next like 50 minutes, is just be able to take all that stuff that's going on in your life and be able to put it in a box and stick it up on a top shelf until we're through. And this is going to be fun and interactive, so I want you to feel free to pick my brain, and good luck whatever you find in there. And I just want to have a really good time with this as we talk today about women in science and medicine having the image of success. Do you have any particular comments on success, what you think that is? Anyone?
Whatever you define it as.
Exactly. Whatever you define it as. For every person, it's something different. And it's not always about money and prestige. It could be about family and relationships and just feeling good about yourself and what you're doing. You know, that first impression is made in as little as 7 seconds, and it's very hard to change. And the perceptions that people are getting about us in that time, or that we have about other people during that time, people are making all kinds of judgments about our self-image, our outlook on life, our economic and educational levels, our trustworthiness, our social position, and even our future success. It's not right, but nevertheless, we all make judgments about those things very, very quickly. And so, doink. What we want to talk about today, first of all, is the most important thing that we can wear, and that really is confidence. Now, it doesn't say arrogance, but it says confidence. Confidence is so important because that's what's going to determine how people treat us. People treat us the way we treat ourselves, and so if they see someone who maybe is a little distracted, doesn't feel confident in themselves, they're going to think, well, if you don't care any more about yourself than that, then why should I? And so that's a good lesson to teach our teenagers too, and our kids, especially the young ladies nowadays who seem to lack a lot of self-confidence, and because of that get treated very poorly. And I grew up having no self-confidence, no decent self-image, and went through a lot of abuse and a lot of things because of it. And so I'm very passionate that as women we are very confident in what we say, what we do, what we allow to happen to us, and how people treat us. So I think that's very, very important. As it says here, the biggest determining factor as to whether people take us seriously is our opinion of ourselves. You can always tell when someone is confident, when they have a good opinion of themselves, when they know where to draw the line, what to allow, what not to allow. And so I want you to think about that as we go along through this. You know, all forms of communication really impact others, whether it's clients, colleagues, suppliers, friends, in your case, patients, and everyone like that. All forms of communication. So that's our verbal, our nonverbal, and our written communications. Good manners, proper speech patterns, and how we groom ourselves, all of that will make the difference between us getting ahead in life and being left behind. And a lot of times now too, people with very high technical ability, technical skills, are also being sent to schools where they can learn proper etiquette and communication skills. Because a lot of times a highly technical person has been so involved in all the technical aspects that it's been very difficult to communicate with, even in your case, patients and with family members and people like that. So it's very, very important that no matter what business we're in, that we are really able to communicate. One of the unfortunate things with young people growing up now is that everything is technical. Yes, texting, doing all of this. And because of that, I'm hearing a lot of companies say, we can't communicate with them. I've done some programs for generational issues given to companies on the differences in the generational issues, because I'll tell you what, we have some big problems in the companies. I was doing organizational development with an architectural engineering firm and gave a program on the different generations. And everybody just, butting heads and not understanding. And when I did a ladies seminar on a panel, one of the younger ladies had said, we don't know what to do. The older people won't give us anything. They won't give us their intellectual knowledge. They won't give us their information, and we're trying, and they won't give it to us. Why is that? And I said, well, a lot of times because the older ones are losing their jobs quite often. They're threatened by that. And yet the older ones think the younger ones know it all and want everything really fast. And so there's a lot of issues there with generational issues that we need to really concentrate on. And the bottom line is respecting each other, listening to each other, and being willing to learn from each other no matter what age we are. So that's also very key right now. But just think the winner is usually the one that has the most professional image, the best manner. Manners, good communication skills, respect, and etiquette will always win out over anything else, because that's what really draws people. What are the benefits? One is respect. You know, people expect certain treatment from people. A lot of times people are drawn to doctors and nurses and those that they know will not only respect them, but to treat them kindly. And so etiquette is where we really want to develop those skills so that we can communicate very well with people. Enhances leadership quality, business, and career. You know, a lot of times a leader is one who really doesn't have to have a leadership position, but they're the ones that really are going to take the bull by the horns and be able to lead people, to guide them. You know, people do things for one of two reasons, either because they have to, it's part of their job, or because they want to. And the ones that we want to follow us, we want people to follow us because we have good leadership skills and that we have that kind of temperament and the manner and the respect and the etiquette that will actually draw people to us and want them to follow us. Differentiates you from others, at least, you know, between comparisons, for instance. So a lot of times if two people have the same qualifications and the same skills, the one who is more respectful, the one who is more knowledgeable, the one who appears outwardly, even in their appearance, to look more professional and organized, is the one who will be bringing people to them and having them want to work for them. So good etiquette will also differentiate you from other people that maybe don't have those manners. Whether you're on the golf course, whether you're in a meeting, whether you're treating patients, whatever the case may be, you have a confidence in a variety of settings with a good etiquette that you've learned from different programs. Another thing is distracting behaviors. I remember a lady that said every time she worked with transcription for her boss, she was always hearing him belching and sniffing and blowing his nose while he was dictating to her. And so again, that was one of those distracting behaviors that he could have certainly left out of there. And so, you know, a lot of times it's good just to ask a partner or a person at work that you trust, you know, is there anything I do? Maybe I say all the time, or you know, or as the young people do now, like this, like that. And my fiance's daughter is an attorney, and I noticed that she even goes and I oh my gosh. So again, that will help modify distracting behaviors. How important do you think nonverbal signals are? Very important. Why? What are they telling you?
They can be lots of messages about how you're feeling. Sometimes you can tell what the person even might be thinking through nonverbal communication.
Exactly. You can tell a lot. Now, the study of kinesics actually started in the 1950s. And the reason it was is because researchers wanted to know what kind of impressions, what kind of messages we're giving to people, not by what we say, but what we do, how we look, all of those things. And so they started doing some studying. Now, kinesics and nonverbal communications is the most honest form of communication because it's the most unconscious. If you see someone who's saying, oh, very agreeable, very nice, very pleasant, and friendly to you, but yet you notice a spark of fire in their eyes, maybe their fists are clenched or their body's kind of stiff, what do you want to believe? You have to watch the body because it's so much more important, and it will tell you so many things to help you communicate properly, to help you clear up a lot of questions or issues that might arise if you don't catch something at the moment. So always watch that. And I'm sure you all know the breakdown of communications, but we'll go over it again. 55% is nonverbal. Okay, that's how you look, how you're dressed, your grooming. It's how you sit, walk, stand, enter a room, what you're doing with your hands, what you're doing with your facial expressions. 55% is nonverbal. So again, it's going to color a meeting indelibly when you walk in the room a lot of times just by what you're doing, how you sit, where you sit, the expression on your face, you know, are there papers and things spread all over, or fidgeting with sleeves. Those are all going to tell people messages. And so think about 55%. 38% is the quality of your voice. That's your expressions, your pitch, and the tone of your voice. Tone of the voice is so important. Sometimes I have fun just saying a little example, and I'll go up to somebody and, okay, like I'll say, okay, you just did a great job on this report, and it was really good, and so I'm going to come up to you, and because you did such a nice job, I'm just going to say, wow, that was really great. So how would you feel?
Good.
Good. Well, that was great.
Whoops.
Not so good, right? And so I said the same thing, but it was how I said it. Because a lot of times when we're distracted and we're busy and maybe somebody just pulled our chain the wrong way and we're thinking about something else, we might say something that we really don't mean to come out that way. And yet if we don't watch that person's reaction to it, they're going to go off thinking, well, wasn't she cranky? I don't want to work for her anymore, or whatever the case may be. And so we really need to watch that, how we do that. Only 7% of the actual words that are coming out of our mouths. So again, think about how you're saying something. That makes a big difference. Now I'll tell you a little incident that happened when I did this for a leadership group a few months ago. There were about 20 people in the room, and they were all sitting together, in a nice little group over here. And then here was this one bank president, vice president, who was sitting over here. So he was kind of by himself. So he was close, and so I walked up to him and I put my fingers on his desk and said, well, that was great. I said, how would you feel? He said, I'd tell you to get your hands off my desk or my table. And he wasn't kidding. He was serious. I thought, wow. And so, think quick, what am I? And so I said, well, that just shows you again how someone's approach can be different. I was he thought I was taking the authoritative position of being right over him and having my hands on his table, and he didn't like that. And the fire in his eyes, it was really amazing just to watch that. And then I thought, well, I see why you're sitting over here by yourself too. You're kind of antisocial. And
He's probably made to come to your seminar. That was his problem.
yeah. And so I thought, you're vice president of a bank, chill a little bit, lighten up. You can't treat people like that. And he was very upset. And so we just never know what kind of impression we're going to give to somebody, or something that we think is totally innocent, and yet they really get upset. That's why it's so important to always watch how are they responding to your communication. Okay, positive signals, what do? They make us more approachable. They make us more believable, more credible. People want to approach us when we have positive signals. We can go into a room for a meeting, and if we've been feeling just great, had a really good day, and then you see the person, especially if it's an authoritative figure, and they walk in and they just had a bad confrontation with somebody, it's like this dark energy, this wet blanket just entered the room, and the energy goes down, and it doesn't feel very good. Or maybe you're home and you were in a bad mood because of what happened, and then a spouse or one of your kids comes in and they're all bouncy and happy and joyous. What does that do? It raises the energy back up. And I've become very aware of what energy does in a room and how it can bring the whole group up or it can bring the whole group down. And so again, watch what people are doing. We always want to have positive signals rather than negative ones that will cause people to turn around and go away and not want to deal with this, because it does make a huge difference. Mannerisms, again, as far as in our personality, we can be, are we aggressive? Are we shy? Are we personable? Are we someone that people want to get to meet? Are we someone people see us in the hallway and so they're going to do a quick turnaround and go the opposite direction? All those mannerisms that we have, outgoing, everything, are going to be revealed and tell people what our personality is like. And we don't need to be always joyful and jolly and all of that, but we want to have a personality that is approachable and that people really want to be able to communicate well with us. Okay, did I skip? Just even in that picture, what do you think of the picture on there? What is that saying? Would you like to be the guy on the right? So he's moving away, so we can tell right there what's happening. Okay, what is the real message? I love this because I get so many different comments from people. It's really been fun to use this. Okay, I've asked people, because I have my own opinion of this. Now I see the guy on the right with his smile on his face, even though there's no teeth showing, it's just, and his arms are open. One of the things when you're mingling and you're talking to people and maybe you're a little shy and you want people to approach you is to always be open, have your fingertips open, your palms up, be open and invite people to approach you and talk to you. Where if you're closed off, that's going to shut people off and tell them to go away. So just call out a few things. What is this telling you? Because it's really fun when you hear different opinions of how people interpret this. The gentleman on the right, or your left.
Very approachable.
Very approachable?
Yeah, the one in brown suit.
Yes.
He looks like a salesman.
See, that's it. I looked at it as very approachable and friendly, and then I've had people say, he looks sneaky. He looks like a sneaky used car salesman. What else? Any other comments? That's why it's so important for when you do that, see what people are doing in response to you. Start watching how people are reacting to those
The
things.
expression on his face looks forced to me.
Forced?
It doesn't appear natural.
Uh-huh. It's like, well, I have to be nice to you, so, you know, yeah. Now, and then you look at that one, the next one over to the right, he's probably, since his arm's up there, waiting for someone, and he looks kind of disturbed, but people have said with that one too, it looks like there's a disconnect even between the two of them. I get some really great answers with the one on the right, the guy that's leaning over her monitor. Throw some things out because they're so opposite. Okay? He's asking her out on a date. And that's, what else? Anything else?
He looks very casual, you know, he's got his hand in his pocket, he's got his one foot up, you know.
Asking a favor? Is that,
Casual
okay.
conversation.
I've had people say, yeah, he looks like he's putting the moves on her, or no, he's just having a casual conversation. So again, she could be the type that goes, get your hands off my monitor, or she could start backing up, being uncomfortable, or maybe she's going, yeah, come on, bring it on, bring it on. So there again, what we do is going to have entirely different meaning to a different type of a person. Now you look at the ones below, the lady's the same in both, but look at the gentleman's head and hand. So what do you think of the first one on the left?
Self-defensive.
Defensive?
He's probably hearing some bad news from her.
Okay.
What did you say?
Hearing some bad news from her maybe, which a lot of times when the head's down, it portrays shame, whether there is or not, or embarrassment. And yet I had somebody say, well, it looks like he's contemplating. He's really listening to what she's saying. So again, you don't really know unless you're following up all the nonverbals with verbal queries to find out how they really feel. And then you look at the one, and to me, I think it looks like he's thinking, oh, yeah. But what else do you might see? Because it's funny how people see things differently. Do you guys feel like that's a positive one?
Skepticism, maybe?
Skepticism? Okay. So there again, your verbal conversations, it's so critical that you also follow up with, the queries with the nonverbal signals. Because I'll tell you, they can be totally different and they can really confuse people, and somebody can go away understanding what you